Golf Smarter number 355, published on October 31, 2012. Trick or treat.
Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans, your second chance to gain insight and advice from the best instructors featured on the Golf Smarter podcast. Great golf instruction never gets old. Our interview library features hundreds of hours of game improvement conversations like this that are no longer available in any podcast app.
I've had clients come in and say, you know what, I practice all the time. I should be able to repeat this. I should be able to hit a bunker shot or a pitch shot or hit a tee shot like Tiger Woods. I've had people say that. And I say, you know what, if you told that to Tiger Woods, he'd punch you in the face right now.
Why?
Because he's one of the world's greatest athletes, and he spends about 5,000% more time working on his game than you. Why in the world would you deserve to hit it like him? We talked about this before. Golf's not about who hits the best. It's about who misses it the least. People have to understand that in a coaching environment, if you're open, you are going to perform at a much higher level, and you should do that immediately. But to own it and take it to the course and stand there with half the people in your club membership looking at you and rip it down the fairway just like you coaches there, it's not going to happen until you deserve to have it happen. And that comes through that journey. And that's why golf is exciting, because it takes a lot of hard work to play at a high level. It doesn't take a lot of hard work to experience great ball flight, but it takes a lot of hard work to own that ball flight.
Jeff Ritter on his integrated approach to being a better golfer.
This is Golf Smarter. Each week we tap the best minds in golf to help lower your scores with tips, drills, insights, and advice. In conversation with course pros, architects, authors, players, teaching gurus, and coaches, here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Jeff.
Hey, Fred. Thanks again for having me.
You are quite welcome. I need to apologize to the audience for being a little bit late. I know some people like to download this immediately, but I've had some technical issues, and strangely enough, this is the fourth time that Jeff and I are trying to record. We've recorded 2 episodes already, and they disappeared, and so we're trying again. So we're really well rehearsed. This is the first time we've had a rehearsed Golf Smarter podcast. You ready?
I am absolutely ready. Fourth time's a charm.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Fifth time's a charm.
Yeah, sure, we're par. So, Jeff, one of the things, and we're going to get right to it, I want to talk about your approach to your integrated approach to coaching. You bring in so many different elements, not just swing mechanics, and I know that technique is a big thing for you, but you bring in much more to your coaching approach.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. The integrated approach is really just trying to create an extension of the golf performance aspect of things. My expertise is in the technical aspect of how to change or improve your ball flight, from tee to green. That's what people come to me for first and foremost on a daily basis. The things that I'm interested in personally, and have been for a long time, go beyond that. I'm really into fitness. I'm really into the mindset aspect of high performance in sport. And I'm also very much into nutrition now because, as you know, my fiance, Kate Monroe, is a nutrition coach. So all of these things that I've engaged in on my own over time have led their way into my coaching. And what I've found is that that technical environment becomes a lot more fulfilling and inspiring when you show people not just how to hit it a little bit better or putt or chip better, but you show them how they can incorporate some of these other ideas using golf as a vehicle. And it doesn't only improve their performance on the course, but it also really improves it off the course as well. So it's sort of more fulfilling for me, and it's more fulfilling for them, and it keeps me excited about going to work each day and the possibilities that exist within this vehicle that we call golf instruction.
And this past summer, I want to catch up. It's been a while since we've spoken, and we'll talk about the individual elements of your integrated approach, but I think this is going to lead us to that. This past summer, you were running the Nike Junior golf camps down in Monterey. How did that go?
It was absolutely fantastic. We were there for 6 weeks. We entirely sold the program out. We had a waiting list about 60 kids deep. And, it's not too bad being down there in Pebble Beach, right in the middle of the summer, whereas in Arizona, I'd be sweating my butt off. So I've been involved with Nike golf schools and junior camps for about 10 years now. Actually, all the golf camps and football and basketball, baseball, soccer, anything that has a swoosh on it's actually run by a company out of San Rafael, near your area, called US Sports.
So, better known as San Rafael.
I guess so, right? So, thanks for the correction.
Yes. Yeah. It's like you don't want to say Frisco. You got to call it San Francisco. It's not, whenever you hear San Rafael, they're from out of town. It's San Rafael.
Well, I'm from Lancaster, PA, which most people think is Lancaster, which is certainly not correct. So
well, actually, in Southern California, it is Lancaster.
Yeah, well.
They're wrong.
They're wrong. But I've been involved with the company for a long time, and last year, around this time, they named me their National Director of Instruction for the golf schools and the camps. So my first order of business was to really try and do the best job possible, trying to run what we think is a world-class experience, in the Pebble Beach area. So, we've had kids that come from all over the globe. It's so cool to see the kids show up and the parents show up, and kids from Korea and China, and we had a kid from Russia and a kid from Kuwait. And I asked the kid from Kuwait, I said, "How in the world did you find this camp?" And he said, "Google."
Yeah, online, sure.
Online, but obviously, the name Pebble Beach, the area Pebble Beach, it's synonymous with excellence and excitement and the best golf in the world. So even though we don't actually play Pebble Beach, we do play a lot of Pebble Beach properties. We play Spanish Bay and Spyglass, and we play Del Monte. We also take the kids to Poppy Hills, which is not owned by the Pebble Beach company, but it's within that Del Monte forest. So, it's great golf. We put together one heck of a staff. I was very lucky to get so many great coaches to come out and work with me, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that the camps have a great reputation, but also that area is so charged with positive energy, and everyone had a great time with it.
Amazing. Is this an exclusive camp? I mean, do these kids have to try out, audition to get involved? No,
not at all. Actually, if they just go to ussportscamps.com/golf, they can actually search not only the Pebble Beach camps, but up to 79 other locations where we run camps like this throughout the country. And there's different skill levels. We have the regular camps, which are open to all abilities, ages 10 to 18. And then we have the advanced camps. In the literature, we like to have the advanced campers be passionate about the game. They're going to hit a lot of golf balls. They're going to be doing a lot of walking. So if they're playing on high school golf teams, if they have that mindset towards maybe playing in college someday, it's important that they're honest with where they are, because when they show up, they're going to get a lot of golf. So if there's a parent out there that says, I'm just going to put them in the advanced camp, it's not so much that the instruction is any different, because the coaching staff is the same for both weeks. It's just that the environment's a lot more intense. So if your child is just getting involved with the game and you throw them in there with a bunch of stud high school athletes, they might not have a very good time, because they're going to feel like they're way behind the curve. So just important that kids and parents are honest with their ability level, and realize that no matter what camp they go into, the coaches are the same, and the coaches are trained to give the kid exactly what they need based on their skill level.
I love when you mentioned they're honest about what their game is, and that is not exclusive to child golfers, to young golfers, junior golfers. I would think for all of us. Is that something that you do with each of your students? You talk about, or you try to get them to be honest about where their game is?
Yeah, I try and get them to be honest about where it is, but I also try and get them to be honest or authentic about where they'd like it to go. A lot of people, they come in for a lesson, and only 10% of golfers, Fred, take golf lessons. So there's 90% of people that play golf out there that are not actively engaging in a coaching environment, whether it be in person or online.
And isn't it only 10% of golfers ever break 100?
I don't know those numbers, but yeah, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
It's a very hard game. So every year, just as many people that get turned on by the game, they get turned off by the game. So it's really up to us as coaches in an industry to get people excited about their games and excited about this experience that we call golf, and to find ways that make them want to stick with it. And the fact that the game is so hard is a little bit of a challenge. I've always kind of liked this idea that if I'm going to try something and I'm going to stick with it, I want to be mediocre fast. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to put some skis on my feet or strap on a snowboard, if I'm falling down the mountain all day, then the next day, I'm going to figure out something else to do that, is a little bit encouraging. And the same thing with golf. If you're missing it and losing balls and it's taking you forever and you're just not having a good time with it, then why would you come back? So it's really up to coaching to be able to reveal to people very quickly how good they can actually be. And when people start to get a taste of what it's like to have success, they want to come back for more. And once you do that, you can sort of outline what the journey is going to be like. There's never going to be a day when you say, hey, I absolutely have it, and you have it forever. You see with tour players, one day they go out and shoot 62, the next day they go out and they miss the cut. So it's all about embracing the challenge associated with the game. But very early on, people have to have that taste of success. And as it relates to people that are already involved with the game, Fred, about 70% of my clients are from outside of Arizona, which is an amazing thing.
That's really incredible because there's so many golf instructors who are struggling to get any clientele at all, let alone have them from out of town. I mean, you said only 10% of golfers take lessons.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of that was due to I'm very active in social media. As you know, I've got my YouTube channel at almost 5 million views now.
Amazing.
Right before we got on the phone, I talked about 2 clients that have actually secured my services to fly to Sydney, Australia, and spend about 2 weeks coaching them down there. But the thing is,
did they discover you on YouTube? Is that how they found you?
Yeah, they sure did.
Wow.
They found me on YouTube, and they came out here the last 2 years and spent about a month working with me. And then this year, they just decided to stay in Sydney and offer me a trip out there. I'd never been before. We had talked about doing something special down there. So we're going to go out there and coach them up a little bit, get them ready for their tournament season, but also try and meet some of their other fellow tour pros that they work with, and also maybe meet some business contact and see if we can't do something on more of a regular basis. But the thing is that, people have, different experiences with coaching. And when somebody gets on an airplane to come out to see me, a lot of times they're looking at me as sort of their last resort, so to speak. They've been frustrated with the game. For whatever reason in their local market, they hadn't been able to make that turn, so to speak. And they come out to see me because they're looking for an answer. And if they don't get an answer, their enjoyment for the game is probably going to be extinguished. So I take a lot of care and time into trying to come up with a plan that's going to get them excited about their game again. And that comes down to very quickly showing someone, how they can hit it better than they've ever hit it before in a short period of time, or make that one swing change that, they've worked on for years and they hadn't been able to change, and all of a sudden, wham, in 15 minutes they see it. That's the thing that's exciting to me. And once I get people believing in themselves, then it's really easy to start introducing them to some of these other components that we call the integrated approach. So if somebody comes back, a year from now and they go, you know what, I won my club championship, but I also lost 20 pounds. Those kinds of things come from, that one experience in the golf performance aspect of things. And, as it relates to this whole integrated approach, it's golf performance, it's mindset, it's fitness, it's nutrition. But people out there have to realize that I'm not the mindset expert, and I'm not the fitness expert, and I'm not the nutrition expert. I have a team of people around me that fill that role. But my whole expertise is golf performance. I'm just using that lesson experience, that time there, to be able to do the best I can do to help them make the turn with their ball striking. And then from there, if they want to dabble and get involved with some of my other coaches in my network, as I hope they do, then I think that they're primed for an amazing experience.
I'm not going to hold you to these numbers, but when you say only 10% of golfers take lessons, of that 10%, how many do you think take more than one lesson? I mean, is it a lot like, oh, I'm going on vacation this week, I need a lesson? And it's like the only time they ever take a lesson.
Boy, it's hard to say. I'm actually a member of this business group called the Proponent Group. It's actually run by a gentleman named Lauren Anderson, who used to be with Golf Magazine for years. So he throws out these stats all the time to us as members because we need to learn about the market that we're dealing with as coaches and what opportunities exist. So I don't know what that answer is, but after this conversation, I'm going to ask him what that is, because you're right. some people might go out for that one lesson and be totally turned off. This was way too hard. I didn't get it. I did better before I even showed up. Whereas another segment of the population might have that great coaching experience where they would develop something that's more personal and ongoing with more of a game plan. And, we've talked about on the show before that there's two different kinds of lessons, right? We said there's corrective lessons and there's developmental lessons. And the corrective lesson is when, Fred Green shows up on my lesson team when he's on vacation and says, hey, Jeff, I am slicing it out of bounds. Can you help me? Because I got to play the Raven Golf Club Phoenix tomorrow, and I want to play really well. I've been looking forward to this. I mean, that's a corrective lesson. In one lesson, can I get your ball in between the trees? The developmental lesson is when you come out and you say, hey, Jeff, I'm a 10 handicap. I want to play like a 5, or I want to play like a stretch, or I have this goal to win the club championship. That's more of an ongoing relationship. So from a coaching perspective, you've got to be able to show people the light, very quickly in both of those circumstances. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get them to, number one, enjoy the game if it's corrective, or even come back to the game if it's developmental.
What I'm curious to know, when somebody comes to you, most of the time are they just saying, I just need to be consistent? Is that what happens? It's because that's what I hear a lot on the golf course. God, if I was only consistent, I'd be so much better. And it's like, really? You think that's all it takes? Yeah.
Sometimes they say that, and sometimes as a coach you say, well, let's just, remove the good one, and then you'll be consistent. If we just take that nice, powerful draw out of the mix, then all of them will be rolling along the ground like you've been hitting here. But, sometimes they say that. I mean, that's sort of the cliche thing to see, because, they feel like, they have the ability to hit quality shots, but they can't do it consistently. Another thing that happens with my clients a lot, I mean, I've been very blessed that the majority of my clients, they have what I would call a high golf IQ. And to me, that means that they're into the game. They practice multiple times per week. They enjoy playing in events at the club. They're on YouTube and in Golf Digest magazine. I mean, they're in it to win it. And they've been searching for something. And, because everyone has phones now that have cameras on them, people have seen their golf swings. Mm-hmm. And they know what they want to work on. They just don't know how to fix it. So when people come to my lesson team, a lot of times they're, in many cases, playing with or practicing with very good, relevant ideas, so they're not entirely lost, so to speak. It's just that they don't know how to make that change. So in a coaching environment, it's my job to stretch the player mentally and physically to the degree that's necessary for them to actually make that change. Now, in some cases, I have to present the entire plan to them. But it's kind of nice when a client comes in and they're halfway there, and you show them that for them to accomplish their goal, they're really not that far away.
Okay, I'm going to throw a curveball on this conversation because it occurs to me that, and I'm definitely guilty of this, how do you know that you have the right coach? What is it that we should be looking for, or how do we find a coach that works for us?
The way that you know you have the right coach is that in that first lesson, you should get better immediately. Mm-hmm. And that's putting a lot of pressure on coaches out there. But I'm telling you, if you take a golf lesson and the coach pats you on the back and says, don't worry, Fred, you're going to get it, you're not. Okay, because if you can't do it when the coach is there, there's no way you're going to figure it out on your own. Now, I'm not saying that you have to hit perfect shots. But what you have to be able to do is see contact and ball flight and results that are way different than you've had before. And if they're not perfect, in some way, much, much closer to what you're looking for. So if your issue is you hit the ball off the toe and you take huge divots and you slice the ball to the right every time, if that's your pattern, at some point in that lesson, you should have a shallow divot, a centered hit, and a ball that curves the other way. If you see that difference in flight that's more to your liking, then you can look at your coach and say, hey, you're onto something. I'm going to go ahead and stick with you in the program. But if you keep on seeing the same result, it means that the game plan isn't accurate, or the coach doesn't know how to stretch your mind and stretch your body to the point where you can actually make that change. So I always tell people when they come out to my lesson tee, you have a certain level of expectation. But I guarantee you that my expectations of the learning environment and the results that we're going to get are even higher. So I don't try and diminish someone's expectations. I try and increase their expectations, and then as a coach, make sure I deliver.
And it's okay if we walk away from a lesson that there was no moments of, okay, I got it, that we should try other coaches?
Well, I mean, people that
we shouldn't worry about hurting their feelings, right?
Well, the thing is, when people want to try other coaches, if they haven't seen any results, and the results could be, it looks better. I'm not reverse pivoting anymore. I'm finally getting my weight to my front foot. My swing plane is flatter. It's got to look better and perform better, but, it's going to be a journey. The thing is that I expect people to improve immediately, but Fred, that doesn't mean that they are going to be granted with immediate ownership over the new skill level. So here's the whole thing. You can change your ball flight right now, but to go to the first tee and the second tee and the third tee and own that ball flight, that's going to take,
that's huge.
Patience, will, and discipline. It means you've got to go out there and you got to put in the time. And I've had, clients come in and say, I practice all the time. I should be able to repeat this. I should be able to hit a bunker shot or a pitch shot or hit a tee shot like Tiger Woods. I've had people say that. And I say, if you told that to Tiger Woods, he'd punch you in the face right now.
Why?
Because he's one of the world's greatest athletes, and he spends about 5,000% more time working on his game than you do. Why in the world would you deserve to hit it like him? He puts all that time in. So we talked about this before. Golf's not about who hits the best; it's about who misses it the least.
I love that.
People have to understand that in a coaching environment, if you're open, you are going to perform at a much higher level, and you should do that immediately. But to own it and take it to the course and stand there with half the people in your club membership looking at you, while they're holding their mint juleps and rip it down the fairway just like you when the coach is there, it's not going to happen until you deserve to have it happen, and that comes through that journey. And that's why golf is exciting, because it takes a lot of hard work to play at a high level. It doesn't take a lot of hard work to experience great ball flight, but it takes a lot of hard work to own that ball flight.
Now let's get back to the integrated approach and the different elements of it. That requires more than one lesson, or does that get all tied together when you meet with somebody on that first day?
Well, when people come out to see me for a lesson, they're coming out, from my time personally, which is dedicated to that area of golf performance, which is the technical aspect of what we're trying to do in terms of creating a game plan. Now, as they learn more about my brand and what I do, then of course they can schedule additional time with a nutritionist, or they can schedule time outside the lesson to go over and work with our fitness team or our mindset coaches. So you're going to have to be willing to commit to spending some time outside of the lesson if you want that in-person experience. But all the writing that I do, the stuff I do on YouTube, the stuff that's on my blog, it has valuable points of direction, so to speak, for all of these things. So I want people to be able to kind of see what my brand is all about, to be able to read something or see something on video and start to put it into their lives. And if they really want to get deep into it, then of course they can engage in that one-on-one interaction with part of my performance team.
I recently received an email from you about your new initiative called Make the Turn. Is this all part of your integrated approach? And explain it, please. It is.
Make the Turn. It's really a high performance lifestyle based initiative. To try and get people excited about the game and to get people in position to experience great success and amazing things in all of these areas: golf performance, mindset, fitness, nutrition. So when you make the turn, it's when that level of possibility is revealed to you and you feel like it's attainable. It's when people are authentic with their desires. We've used that word before. But they realize that those desires are also visible and within reach. And sometimes those are, how we think, throughout the day. Sometimes they're the things that we eat and how they make us feel. It's how strong and how flexible we are, and, whether or not we like walking around or if our joints or our back hurts. And of course, then it's going to the golf course and, being able to see that ball sing through the air. Hitting a golf ball great is an amazing feeling, and the more you can do that, the more your level of enjoyment and entertainment goes up. So just trying to create a platform through this program to get people dialed into this whole lifestyle-based approach to playing well and living well. And I really think that they're very closely intertwined, and there's so many opportunities, not only in a golf lesson or in a coaching relationship, to be able to tap into some of these other areas, which are really powerful as well. So one of the things that we're doing with the Make the Turn initiative to get people really dialed in is we're going to have a 52-week Make the Turn weekend challenge program, and it's going to be done through Facebook. So once we get all the challenges shot and dialed in, people will be able to go to my Facebook page, which is Jeff Ritter Golf. And on Friday, the first Friday we start, you'll have a performance-based challenge in the area of golf performance. And next Friday, it'll be a mindset challenge, and then it goes on to a fitness challenge and then a nutrition challenge. So it's basically getting up in the morning, Fred, and seeing something in one of these 4 areas that's going to give you a sense of purpose as you go to the golf course or as you move throughout your day. And one of the things with golf, I mean, we've been talking about golf for a long time, and golf's been in magazines, on TV, and, golf is all just tips. And, as a coach, I started really getting tired about looking at something that's just a tip that doesn't have any kind of purpose or movement behind it. So what I'm hoping to accomplish with this Make the Turn challenge program is for someone to engage in each challenge and then be able to start seeing a positive change in their golf game, in their thought processes, in their nutrition, in their waistline, in how their body feels. And then at the end of the year, look back and say, wow, that program got me dialed in. It was fun to participate in. And not only do I play better, but I feel better, I think better, and I'm glad that I participated in it.
I'm intrigued. What is the time commitment and are there report cards? I mean, how does that work, and how much are we supposed to be doing each week with each challenge?
Well, it's a very low time commitment. For example, a golf performance challenge might be as simple as, if you're going to go to the range on Saturday, I want you to go ahead and complete this one short game drill, for example. Some will be more difficult, some will be a little bit easier, but it's not something where you got to spend all day doing it. It's just going out there, instead of just whacking balls, having some purpose behind what you're doing and trying to create a benchmark for your performance. If it's a fitness-based challenge, it's going to be something that you can hop out of bed and do in your living room. I'm not going to require people to go climb a mountain or go join a gym or anything like that. It's just the idea of creating momentum. And of course, with nutrition, stuff that you can look at on a menu and make a choice that's a little bit different than what you would normally make at your local club. So, life is all about, generating momentum. Anyone who's been involved with fitness or running or anything like that, once you get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of steam in your engine, it's amazing how much farther you can go. So this program is designed to get people started and to build momentum slowly over time, so that the sum of all the parts, so to speak, lead up to a much greater whole, which is hopefully exciting and inspiring and gets people pumped to be involved in the game. And that's what I'm all about, is helping people get pumped about their golf games. And because I've got this great team of people around me, we have the ability to expand on that influence into these other areas as well. I'm
pumped. I'm ready. And when does this begin? At Jeff Ritter Golf Facebook page.
Jeff Ritter Golf Facebook page.
And when's the first challenge being issued?
I'm hoping it's going to be at, I don't want to get the deadline here too close because we got the holidays coming up, but I've been actively doing some video and some writing and putting the challenges together. So we'll have about 13 challenges in each category. But I would imagine in the next 6 weeks, you'll start seeing them there. And one thing people can do is they can just go to my Facebook page, which is Jeff Ritter Golf. Another incentive for them is, Fred, I'm giving away a ping answer driver this month. So going to be giving away a ping answer driver. We already gave away one. We're going to give away another one. So all you have to do is like the page, and they can actually register right there.
Okay, and wait, now this is when you're talking about November 2012 this month or October 2012 this month?
Well, actually, we're going to give them away multiple months. So if somebody enters today and they don't win the next driver, they'll be enrolled to actually win either a driver beyond that or another prize. I've actually got a top secret sweepstakes giveaway in order, which is going to be it's going to be big, Fred.
Am I eligible to win?
I told you before, if you won
Come on, man.
I don't think that would be possible.
Okay, I don't want to talk about it anymore then. So listen, here's what I would like to do, because we've hit our time limit for today, because I want to get to our SCORZone Short Game Academy. But here's, can you come back? We'll do another episode next week, a members-only episode, and can I drag out of you a couple of these specific 52 of your, not all 52, but a couple of the Make the Turn challenges for the next episode?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. So for Golf Smarter members, you will get to hear some of the challenges that Jeff's going to be providing over the next 52 weeks when he starts. And we will speak to Jeff on the next episode on get some of these challenges. Okay, Jeffy?
All right, Fred. Sounds good. Can't wait.
It is time once again for the SCORZone Short Game Academy with our wedge guy, Terry Koehler. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Fred. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you. I just want to remind all of our listeners that they can participate in this segment of the show. If you have a question about your short game, we invite you to go to golfsmarter.com and click on the button that says SCORZone Short Game Academy. And Terry, along with his blog, thewedgeguy.com, is that what the URL is for your blog?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, yeah, he even addresses, I've been reading the Wedge Guy blog, and I've seen some of the questions that have come up on Golf Smarter on your blog. Thank you very much for doing that.
Well, people have questions. I want to provide answers when I can.
And why not? And we actually have a question today. This one comes from longtime Golf Smarter listener and supporter. Thank you, Hugh DeAndrade out of Summit, New Jersey. And it's a very simple question, but I think it's a relevant one because I want this answer as well. It says, Terry, you frequently speak of the release. Would you please define and explain that term?
Well, I'd love to, Hugh. Thanks for asking, because I was just out in Las Vegas last week and speaking to a group of LPGA teaching professionals, and we got into a dialogue about proper release of the golf club, and they all agree this is one of the most misunderstood parts of the golf swing is this thing we call the release of the golf club. And working with your short shots and your half swings, your chips and pitches is the easiest place to learn the real proper move and the release of the hands through impact, because you're doing everything in slow motion. And if you learn it and you learn a proper release on your short pitches and your half wedges, you can then migrate that, if you will, up into your short irons and your middle irons and all the way to your driver. The release of the golf club, when we talk about that, is that the way the hands and the golf club react through the impact zone, and that magic moment where the hands are moving from just behind the ball to ahead of the ball, and the club head is moving from well behind the ball to well in front of the ball. It's very hard to do without video, but I'm going to give it my best shot. If you'll stand, and your listeners, if you'll take your club, your imaginary grip in front of you, and you're looking right down at your thumbs, and if you'll roll it to where the club would be pointing dead to the right, so the back of your left hand, if you're right-handed, is facing straight up in the air. And then roll it to the left so the back of your right hand is facing straight up in the air. That is the rotational release that has to happen through impact. It's not really an unhinging. We talk about cocking our wrists and releasing our wrists. You're really not changing that. That break is changing in your swing. But the release of the club is this rotational move from right before impact, if you will. Everybody get up out of your chair and stand up, and I want to show you this, because if you take your hands like an imaginary golf club and you rotate them to where the back of your left hand is facing straight away from you and the club is parallel to the ground facing to your right if you're a right-handed player. And then when you move the hands about a foot down the target line, and as you do, make a complete 180 rotation so that when you move a foot down the target line, now your back of your left hand is facing straight down and the back of your right hand is now facing straight up. Do that back and forth a couple times. That rotational move is the magic move through impact that magnifies the power of the golf swing exponentially. It's the most. To me, that was Ben Hogan's secret that he never talked about. You heard it here first time. The wedge guy reveals Ben Hogan's secret.
But it's the very first time that Ben Hogan's secret has ever been revealed on this show. Right. Unbelievable.
From the wedge guy. But Hogan talked about pronation and supination and all this, but what he really meant is the rotate. And to me, again, that's in my opinion, is this rotation of the hands. And if you have a golf club in your hand and you do this, watch that I told you move your hands 1 foot toward the target from just behind the ball to just in front of the ball. But while you do it, you do this full 180-degree rotation. While your hands move a foot, the club head moves about 8 feet. And that is a huge magnifier of power. It's an accelerator of your hands are moving 1 foot and the club head's moving 8 foot. That's an 8-to-1 acceleration factor. And while you're doing that, you're rotating your body core. So your hands are rotating and they're staying right in front of your chest. And you actually release your hands by releasing the body. And you don't have to force this rotation, but let it happen. But it's not an unhinging. And if you get into golf posture, I guess I'm going to have to get up out of my chair like all the rest of us. If you get into golf posture and you have this imaginary club or a real club in your hand, if you'll rotate your body and your hands together, but let your hands rotate so that the back of your left hand is facing straight away from you and away from your body, and the club is pointing directly backwards down the target line, parallel to the ground. So if you can, and you've maintained this angle between your forearms and the golf club, and then just pull the heel of your left hand from your right thigh across your left thigh, and at the same time rotate your hands so that the back of your right hand is now facing away from you as your hands pass your left thigh. And do that 180-degree rotation of the golf club. And the hands move a foot, and look how far the golf club moves. The golf club moves from pointing way back behind you to pointing right down the target line. So you've taken this 3.5-foot golf club, and you've moved your hands a foot, and you move that club head 7 or 8 feet. There's a huge magnification of power there. And that applies in every shot in golf. And the hands don't unhinge. The hands stay close to your body in doing this so that your body core rotation can be faster, which is where all your power comes from.
You know, as we record this, we're in the midst of the 2012 Major League Baseball postseason. And Terry's from Texas, I'm from the Bay Area, and my Oakland A's kind of beat up on your Rangers, and now the Giants are doing well as well. But my point is that with these super slow-mo cameras that Fox keeps using, I have noticed that when they show a batter swinging the bat to hit the ball, the rotation, like you're talking about, of his hands as the bat crosses the plate. Is this the same thing?
It's similar, but if you look at all of your viewers watch golf on TV and watch instructional videos, really watch the pros with their short clubs because they're moving slower, everything's happening slower, and you have a better chance of seeing it. But when you get an opportunity to look down the target line, you'll see a lot of times they'll have a camera angle, even in the magazines, from behind the golfer and looking straight behind the golfer down the target line. And look at the address position and the impact position if you can get fortunate enough to see these with a wedge or a short iron in their hands. And their arms are hanging straight down from the shoulder where the hands are in a very natural position. I mean, they're just hanging. They're not pushed out toward the ball. And as you take the club back and through, you want your hands to come right back through that exact position. And so the club has to rotate and maintain what I call the magic angle. And looking from this position, the arm is hanging straight down, but then it goes off at a 63 or 4 degree lie angle to the golf ball. And that's what I call the magic angle. And that angle doesn't get straight. Now, the more powerful swing you make, the more the centrifugal force of your body rotation is going to make your arm swing away from your body a little bit. But if you want to maximize the power of your golf swing, consciously think about keeping your hands close to your body as you turn through impact and letting those hands kind of come across your thighs, if you will, back through their address position. And you will find that you can swing easier and hit the ball harder than you ever have.
Phenomenal. Thank you very much. Great explanation. It really clarified a lot for me, and now I have something to focus on that on my short game swing there. That's great. Thank you. And
all right.
Great question, Hugh. Good job.
It was very good, Hugh. Thanks for asking that, because I love talking about this topic. I like showing people this because it's the aha moment for most golfers when they really understand this concept of release.
And over the last couple of shows, I'm sure that people have realized, and please keep submitting your questions. And your question, of course, may be something that's plaguing you in your game, but just think about the fact that you're not the only one. And the type of questions that Terry seems to be responding to are those that he knows he hears a lot from a lot of different people. So your question may be about your game, but it also could be covering a topic for a lot of people. So the little hint there on what to do. Do you agree with that, sir?
Well, exactly. There are millions of golfers and there are dozens of problems. So every problem somebody has is shared by thousands of other golfers. So please ask, please send it in. And there are no stupid questions. There are, only questions that don't get asked.
There you go. That's it for today. Terry, thanks so much. We'll talk to you in a couple episodes, and hopefully it'll be another question that will cover information for all of us.
Yeah, I look forward to it, Fred, and we'll talk to you then.